So I could afford Louis Vuitton and Birkin bags. Actually, I could afford multiple, but I'd rather have homes without mortgages than bags. And before you think this is just a sacrifice now for later story, this is not what that is. This is about determining what real wealth actually looks like, not what it looks like on social media. Let me show you the math and the mindset and how this one decision has changed my entire family's trajectory. Hi, I'm Erica Brown, and this is Wealth Within Reach. I teach people how to build wealth in a different kind of way through real estate. So, welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. I'm a high income earner, and I could absolutely participate in a extremely luxury lifestyle. I mean, I could be out here on Instagram driving the brand new cars, the huge house, going on the trips all the time, which I am going on trips all the time. That's my thing, is trips all the time. Having all the bags and all the jewelry and all the things. But my family, we just chose not to. And for us, we prioritize having the freedom to move and the autonomy to show up and do what we want to do on a day to day basis, showing our kids the world over things. And this is a conscious decision that we've made, and we've made that decision along the way by doing the math. When I think about the cost, and I've been into the stores multiple times, and I've seen the bags, and I like them, and and I'm like a big person, like quality over quantity. But when I see the $10,000 bag, and I think about how that same $10,000 can be a down payment on another property, or the principal of a mortgage being paid down, it's just I just can't do it. When I think about how that same investment can go into an asset that actually generates income that then I can use based on that generated income to then buy the luxury bag, or then fund the vacation, or then pay the car, then that's where my mind goes to. And don't get me wrong. I finally, after 10 years of investing, when I went to Paris, I finally bought my first luxury bag. But it's not something that I do or desire to do on a regular basis at all. I'm more concerned with actually being wealthy versus just looking wealthy. There's a big difference. To me, true wealth is being able to have one day paid off mortgages, to be able to show up and decide what are you going to spend your time with today? What are you going to do? You are deciding these things, and these things aren't being decided for you. For me, that's what true wealth is. And that's what our goal is and what we are aspiring over these next 5 years. For us, while our friends were buying the bigger houses, buying the brand new cars, we were buying rental properties, and they thought we were crazy, right? We didn't have any other people in our lives that were doing that. But over time, they began to see how we have been able to use that wealth to buy other businesses, to begin homeschooling our kids, to begin creating additional income generating opportunities. So then they come and they're like, how you do that? How can I figure out how to do that too? And this is how we got here with the Wealth Within Reach and the Owning and Living It community. So let me walk you through the mindset that put me on here. So let's just take a $10,000 Birkin bag. Okay. Let's take a bag. Let's take a $5,000 bag. Let's just take that. As soon as you buy it, the value depreciates immediately. Or if it doesn't depreciate, it holds its value where it is at best. How much money does that bag generate per month? Probably nothing. Okay. It becomes a liability to you, right? And over a 10-year time span, if you're lucky, the bag is still worth $10,000, but it hasn't actually added anything to your life besides maybe, somebody looking at you and thinking that you have money. Besides that, how has it actually added value over your life? Versus you own a rental property. Maybe initially you paid $150,000 for it. And over those same 10 years, you had a tenant, and not only between the rental income that you earned, but you just kind of like every single time you got an extra bonus or extra check, you just put towards paying off that mortgage, just chunking it down, chucking it down. So now 10 years later, you have a whole paid off property that's now worth maybe dollars. Plus, you're still making rental income every month. Maybe your rental income is $2,000. You're making $1,500, $1,200 a month, and you're actually able to take that money now that you would have in the past paid for a Birkin bag, and now you could take the rental income to pay for a Birkin bag. But here's the beautiful part. Even after you buy that Birkin bag, you still got money coming in. That's the difference between saving and investing. When you invest in the right asset, not only will it help you to accomplish your goal of saving whatever it is you're trying to save, accomplish your goal of paying down whatever debt you want to pay down, but now you actually have a constant repeatable income stream that is feeding you on a monthly basis. Yes, you have costs. Yes, you have things that come up. Yes, you have, obstacles that happen along the way. But at the end of the day, okay, you have an income generating asset. You have an equity generating asset that is like just growing. The equity is just like a savings, like a savings account that's just continuing to grow over time while you're making money. And if you're really, really savvy, then you're also taking advantage of all the tax deductions that come with owning that asset as well. How can your Birkin bag do that? What's your Birkin bag doing? Nothing. Collecting dust. So here's the real kicker. If you take that money that you have, you take that bonus, you take that 401k, you take that equity and you actually invest in an asset, that asset can actually buy you multiple Birkin bags a year. That's the kicker. The bag sits in the closet, but the house builds generational wealth. Let's talk about what it's really about. It's not about the bag, it's not about the car. It's about you caring about what other people think. I said it. It's about you trying to, make other people feel some kind of way, whatever, and you caring about what other people think. Here's the thing about real estate and about investing in general. It's not just about the dollars and cents. It ends up what you end up struggling with in your personal life shows up in how you move in your money. Okay. If you are the type of person who gets anxious, you have what we call an anxious attachment, and you're just always worried about things, that's going to show up when you invest. If you're the kind of person who likes to avoid things and sweep things under the rug and kind of like not face reality, that's going to show up in your investing as well. So if you struggle with people pleasing or caring about what other people thinks, that will absolutely show up in your money journey too. So you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that money stuff. You got to deal with why do you care about what people think to the point where it's affecting you building generational wealth for your family, or it's putting you in a situation where you want to build generational wealth, but you can't figure out, you can't have the money. But when you look around, you have the cars, you have the big house, you have the bags, but you feel like you really don't have anything else to show for it. It's like when you go to the grocery store. People can see that you own a nice bag or you have nice shoes, but they can't see that you have 20 plus properties. Because here's the thing that people don't realize. Real wealth is quiet. Real wealth is subtle. The real flex is you having paid off mortgages and you can decide what you want to spend your time to do on a Monday morning. That's real wealth. This has always been really important with us. My husband and I are very different. I am the person who, this is kind of like my daily attire. I always will have my nails done. I always got my hair looking a certain way, but I'm pretty plain. I wear my sweats, I wear my jeans. Whenever I host an event, I get to dress up and do fun things like that. But on a daily basis, I'm in sneakers. I'm married to a black man, and y'all know black men, y'all like to look good, which I appreciate. He got the shoes, he got this, he got all that. But over time, we've learned that our priorities is not just looking good. Our priority is not just spending money and having designer things. I actually personally prefer the silent designers than the ones that are like written on your t-shirt. Our priority is teaching our sons how to develop skills to be able to take care of themselves, to take care of their families, and how to learn how to build assets and not just liabilities. Because at the end of the day, we want them to inherit assets, not designer bags and not material things, because we know that those things are not what's going to truly set them up for success as they continue to live their lives. I'm more concerned with buying freedom and not status. That's why being able to, over the years, being able to homeschool our kids, being able to take times where I didn't have to work more than 20 hours a week, but we still brought in multiple six figures a year. Or one thing about my husband and I, we're gonna show up to every single thing our kids got going on. If there's a parent teacher conference or something with their hybrid school, we both gonna be there. If there is a football, we're getting ready to go to watch our son in college playing his spring game. Guess what? We both gonna be there. We both gonna be pulling up, and we're gonna be there. And that came with sacrifice. That came with saying no to the designer things, even though we had the money, and saying yes to investing in being an angel investor in businesses and investing in real estate. But for those of you who are like, man, that sounds dope. Like, how do you do that? You get around other people who are doing that too. We have tons of friends that are always talking about, oh, I just invested in this, oh, I just invested in this, or I'm doing this, or I'm going to this conference. That is like a way of life for us. And so a big part of even our mindset over the years has been continuing to surround ourselves with other like-minded couples and families who are doing the same. So much to where I look up and majority of my friends have investment properties. Majority of my friends, and they're not all entrepreneurs like me. Even though I do have a lot of entrepreneur friends, I continue to surround myself around ambitious people who love the Lord, who are grown and like to take care of their family, but also are more not about status and not about, coming up, and walking over somebody else to come up. Like we can all come up together. And so continuing to be uncomfortable, to put yourselves in rooms where people are talking more about investments and helping further their family than one another are the types of rooms that I'm constantly putting myself in to be able to find other like-minded people like me. And those are rooms that I create within my community that if you been looking for that and you just can't find that, that's why you got to get plugged into what I'm doing. If you're connecting with what I'm saying, is here. But whether it is the owning and living experience, whether it's joining my mastermind, whether it's any other meetups or anything I have coming on, I invite you to be uncomfortable and show up because it's not going to be until you are willing to actually like leave your house and get in a room with other people who you want to be like that things are going to change for you. So let's talk about a few practical steps on how you can prioritize assets over liabilities. Number one, this seems very, what's the word? This seems very counterintuitive. But as I talk to more and more people, y'all not doing it. Whether you make a lot of money or a little money, it ain't happening. You gotta actually know how much money you make and know how much money you spend. You have to track your money. And that sounds crazy, but so many people are just making money. Y'all know you make a lot of money, and then you just spending it. There isn't like an actual, if I go to you and say, okay, what are your monthly living expenses? You should be able to automatically be like $10,000 a month, $12,000 a month, $8,000. Like, what do you need to live off? Like, how much, when I say that, how much do you need per month in order to live and function in the way you function? You should know that. If you don't know that, then there's good chance and you're just like making money and spending it. And so the very first thing you can do to begin prioritizing assets is actually to sit down and create a budget. Whether it is through a spreadsheet or you have different budgeting apps, like really being able to figure out what you have going on is the first step. Because once you figure out what you have going on, because one of the practical things you want to look out for in prioritizing assets is you want to look out for the lifestyle creep. The lifestyle creep is what happens as you continue to make more money. You continue to then, okay, I can afford this now. I can afford this now. And then your lifestyle increases. And then you end up not having money to invest because you need the disposable income to be able to invest in assets that will help you to generate money later. And so, but if you suck up all of your disposable income because now you make more money, then you look up and you're like, I'm 50 something years old and I want to retire early and I can't because I've created this life. It's so easy to create the machine. Trust me. I have been there. I'm like, how did we get here? Wait, no, we don't want that. And so it's so easy to have the lifestyle creep up. And so you have to look at what are you buying that looks like wealth but actually is not building anything? What do you have that's taking from you more than it's giving to you? That's one of the first things you want to realize. Number 2, here's your second practical step. Once you actually get clear on your money, where is it going, what's happening, how like where you are, and side note, some of us tend to be more anxious about it and we're like obsessive over it. And some of us tend to be like more like out of sight, out of mind. One of the things I did this year for my mastermind, I hosted a 3 hour workshop, a strategic planning workshop where we worked for 3 hours. We created a vision and a plan for the year. Part of creating that vision and plan for a year, we have to start off with where we are. So I gave my clients a list of questions to write out your income, write out all your debts, write out all your assets, write out all your monthly expenses. And you will be shocked the number of people who were like, ooh, I didn't even realize that, because you don't see it from a full perspective. But in order for you to even move forward with the next steps that I'm going to walk you through, we gotta know what we're working with. Okay. So once you figure out what you're working with, then you're able to see it from a whole perspective. And you're like, okay, wow, I didn't realize I'm spending $10,000 a year on XYZ. I'm spending, 20,000 a year on XYZ. Okay, cool. Now that I'm aware and that I'm spending that amount of money on this, now I can intentionally redirect those funds to that being my down payment for my first house, or to that being my down payment for my rental property, now that we have clarity. So I would say the second step is to redirect one luxury item purchased each year to go into real estate. That is going to help you to be able to begin those rhythms of investing. And let me tell you, your future self will thank you. How many times have we said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that cost then to look up 5 years later and it's doubled in price. And then we're shooting ourselves because we're like, dang, why didn't I get that when it was less? That's how this works. So why now that you know better, you can do better. Right. I was just talking to a friend this morning and I was like, there as a business owner, your income can go up and down. And when real estate sales, because I'm a licensed agent and I have a team of agents, there was a time when we were in the gravy land of COVID in 2021. I was making a whole lot of money from just real estate sales. And I was telling my friend, one thing I'm really grateful for that I remind myself of, that my counselor reminds me of, is when things were good, we made some really good strategic investments that now help when when income is lower, like when sales now are significantly less than what they used to be. But because of some of the investments that we made early on, that now serves us during this down market. And that's what you want. You want to be able to say, okay, when things were good, I stewarded what the Lord gave me well. Now, later, when I need it or whatever in life, I'm able to reap the harvest and the benefits from those strategic moves, versus the worst thing you can do. Worst thing you can do is to be, 5 to 7 years later, and you're like, dang, I wish I could have did. I wish I would have, blah, blah, blah. Versus being like, man, I'm really glad I made that investment. We are also, in addition to being real estate investors, and having multiple businesses, we also have angel investments. So we've invested in other companies where we are like silent investors. And we have a couple of investments that are looking to really hit this year and to potentially sell. And so once those companies sell, then we will be able to be paid out as initial investors. And so we were talking about that. We were like, man, like it was a stretch then, but we did it. And I'm really grateful because now we're now more in a season of, we're not buying more properties right now. We were in the growth phase 10 years ago where we were buying, we were investing, we were doing all that. Now we're like, how can we optimize what we have so we can chill, we can pay down debt, so we can like literally like early retire in just a few years. So that's the season we're in now. And so a part of that season is just like being able to look back at all the investments that we made to determine if they were good investments or not. And so to be able to now be like, man, I'm really glad that we made those initial investments, because we can begin seeing the harvest of those investments. That's where you want to be. Okay. You don't care when you look back. I rarely, man, I'm really glad I bought that bag. I'm really glad I bought that car because when it was new, yeah, sure, it was cool, it was fun, but guess what? Technology happens. It's no longer cool as or it's no longer as cool or as fun as it was when you first bought it. But these assets, they continue to serve you and give to you over time versus taking from you and just become something on the shelf that somebody got to take care of when you pass. Okay. Okay. Next step is to set a wealth building rule. So I am not a part of the people who believe in sacrificing for years and years and years and years and eating beans and rice for years and years and years, and you do nothing else until you accomplish the goal. Cause that's not human. That's not fun. I know I want a little bit of now. I want a little bit now. I want to do the work and I want a little bit now. Like that's how I like to see things because to me that helps you to be motivated to keep going. But if we are taking 20 years before we enjoy anything, that's not really reality. And and even from a health time standpoint, you experiencing traveling, say you want to backpack Europe or you want to like go and do a safari in Africa and all these kind of things, you doing that outdoor because there are some things physically that literally, if you wait to do them when when you're much older, your body, like you've already passed that time. Your knees bad, you got bad hips, like you know what I'm saying? Like that's a young person's game. So sometimes there are things that if you wait, you will miss your opportunity, right? So I'm a big proponent of how about we practice some discipline, we set some short-term goals, we meet those goals, we do a little reward and then we get back to it. That gives us the motivation to keep going. So the third step is helping you to determine what is that wealth building rule for you. Maybe it's okay, you accomplish your Q1 goal, you accomplish that goal, and then maybe you go and buy yourself a new phone. Or maybe you go and buy whatever your thing. If you like shoes, my husband likes shoes, you go and buy some new shoes. Okay, cool. Bought the new shoes. Boom. Let's get back to it. And then you get back to the next goal. I think that that is a really good, realistic, human way to be able to build wealth and still be able to enjoy your life today. The next practical step is you have to look at it. This is the long game. You have to have a long game type mindset. What I don't want you to do is to put all of your money in and then now you're just kind of like, you're waiting and hoping and praying and can't wait for it to hit. Like all of those investments that we made early on, those investments were made that we made out of access. We were not waiting for, those investments to hit within a certain amount of time. We playing a long game. And so you have to have that kind of mindset that you are playing the long game. So because that's what you're investing. Investing is setting up options for your future. That's doesn't mean that it's going to be something that you're going to be able to be paid off now, this year, next year, because really take these moments while you're younger to make more money. Spend those times making more money, increasing your income, saving and investing over time. So then when you get older and you get tired, because we get tired because these kids driving us crazy and you don't, and you don't have the capacity and then you want to chill more, then you'll be thankful of your investments. And then you won't have to work as hard for the money because you have these investments that are hitting. Okay. So that's a good practical step. Last but not least, you have to get around other people who are on this journey with you too. All right. There's statistics that I share all the time with my community that people are only 10% likely to reach their goals if they just write down their goals. Here's how you increase your chances 90% of actually meeting your goal is if one, you share it with someone else. Two, you share it with someone else who's on the journey as well. And I'm not talking about somebody who you live with. I'm not talking about your mama. I'm not talking about your sister. I'm not talking about your spouse because they love you. So they're going to let you opt out. If you don't feel like doing something, they're going to be like, oh, baby, it's okay. You ain't got to do it because they love you, right? But when you share it with someone outside of your household, and they are on the same journey too, then because you don't want to be looking like a simp, you're gonna show up and do what you're supposed to do. If you know, okay, I got my monthly call with so and so. This is how it works in my programs. We have accountability pods. And so we have people that meet on a monthly basis and they're meeting, they're reading a book together, they're doing whatever they need to do in order to start working towards their goals. They're reporting back to each other each month. So if you know, okay, I got that call coming up. I said I was going to reach out to this lender. Let me go ahead and reach out to this lender because who wants to be the only person on the call that didn't do what they were supposed to do? Nobody wants that, right? So that helps you. That's why people between, just being surrounded by other people, having a mentor like me that's constantly like checking on you, what's going on, how's that happening? Plus having the accountability and because you're doing what you said you were going to do, people are taking action. People are conquering their fears. People are making moves, okay? So that's the very last thing that's really going to help you to really drive you to where you want to be is actually to, share with other people and get accountability, right? So I hope you like this episode. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting on? Subscribe so that you don't miss any juicy episode at all. And if you've already subscribed, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, being a listener. I want to hear from you. Like, what is like hitting for you? What do you want me to talk about more? What would you like for me to cover? And yeah, share this with a friend if it was helpful. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next episode of Wealth Within Reach. See you soon.